And ahead of the International Women's Day, an international non-governmental organization is trying to increase girls' access to education while calling on the Nigerian government to provide security for them while in school. The country director of Christian Aid Nigeria, Charles USIE, challenges women in Nigeria to speak up against harmful beliefs that will stop them from being able to achieve their dreams and aspirations.
Basic provisions for how a secondary school should be organized, especially a secondary school that is boarding. It must have a fence, it must have proper security, it must have provisions for girls, separate for provisions for what? Boys. Those are provisions that are available. We are not saying develop these. No, these are already existing in our curriculums, in our policies, in our law. Again, we are back to one issue: enforcement. That is why in an event like this, we simply make the noise and we do a reminder to government and to public and private sectors, so that when you are granting a school permission to operate, if they don't meet these standards, the school should not be authorized.
The women we have encountered, when they have opportunities to be empowered, their first thought is how their children will go to school. Their first thought is how their children will be well fed. We've had mothers who will say that if they had something doing, if they have a livelihood skill or something that could bring in income, they will ensure that their daughters remain in school. But because they are not economic contributors to the family or to that household, they're not able to make those decisions that keep their daughters in school and keep their children healthy.
And Charles USIE, the country director of the Christian Aid, joins us now in our studios for more. Charles, very warm welcome to NEWSNIGHT Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Real yeoman's job the Christian Aid has been doing in Borno State, the epicenter of the war on terror against Nigeria. I remember about a fortnight ago, some of your staff were kidnapped, and it was the military in Dikwa that went to rescue them. Yeah. Tell us, from Borno to the south here, the situation of the girl child, particularly Borno, like I said, being the epicenter of the war.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. Actually, Christian Aid works across all the geographic regions in Nigeria. We have 10 offices in Nigeria spread across the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. We have a country office from Abuja, but one of our most exciting pieces of work is in Borno State. Like you said, where we've been active in the last 6 years, supporting hundreds of thousands of people who are displaced. It's interesting that at this point in time where we're celebrating the International Women's Day, we have hundreds of thousands of women and children, particularly the girl child, who are currently displaced in most parts of northern Nigeria, especially the northeast, and that is in relation to the insurgency or the ongoing military action with armed states, non-armed state groups in the northeast. As I speak to you, there are hundreds of thousands of young girls who actually have not attended school for the last 4 years. Very few, the current state governor, Professor Zulum, and many international NGOs have made efforts to provide makeshift camps,
in the IDP camps, yeah.
What we call education in emergency. So the name tells you what it entails. We are providing ad hoc education services in an emergency setting. So children will either be sitting under the tree or in makeshift camp. It's not an ideal situation for a young girl.
But at least not to leave them uneducated.
Exactly. So that's a makeshift, a stopgap, for what we can do instead of keeping them until the war ends. I mean, the insurgency has lasted for close to 10 years. So if you had said, let's wait for the war, what would it mean is that you've had a whole lot of girls who have not gone to school, a complete generation who have not gone to school for the last 10 years. And I think that's the effort both international, workers and the federal government, and particularly the state government, are making to ensure that that gap is bridged until normalcy returns, and then they go back to a full scale. And if you look at what's happening, particularly in Borno State, you'll find the governor has prioritized the educational facilities. Some of them are some of the best you will see anywhere, even in Nigeria. But they are not enough, and that is in Maiduguri town. Of course, you know Maiduguri has over 20 local governments. What we are seeing is what is happening in Maiduguri city. It will be our wish, our aspiration is that that is replicated in all the local governments so that people come back to a semblance of what we call normal living, as you'll find in other parts of the state. In other parts of the state, in every local government, you'll find children going to school, the girls going to school. Unfortunately, in the Northwest, even if girls go to school, you'll find them being kidnapped. Now, that is a worrying problem. It is even worse than what is happening in the Northeast, because there we know there's a full-fledged war. In the Northwest, where we thought there was some semblance of what we call normal living, we are finding this kind of very ugly incident where children, girls are in school and they are being kidnapped. It gives a very wrong message to young girls not to go to school. And then it puts us in a situation where the little effort that has been made in the Northeast is being diminished because now people are distracted. Both the federal government, international agencies are being distracted to say, how do we support both ends? And then the question comes back to the center, which is the presidency, to say, what else can we do to secure young girls, particularly, who are in schools, who have made the effort to go to school? The only thing they deserve is the protection and the enablement to remain in school. And I think that's that's going to be one of the central themes of the International Women's Day tomorrow, which the theme is, I choose to challenge. One of the things Christian Aid is doing in Nigeria is to challenge and to discourage and to reject any form of aggression and difficulty that is posed to young girls and women who are seeking for a way to live their life to its fullest.
All right, Charles, I was just going to ask you, you come in contact with these girls and these women on a daily, and you see their challenges real time and, the reality and of it on a daily. How are you able to encourage them, to continue to forge ahead and to seek education in spite of, the very tough and challenging situation that they find themselves, which is no fault of theirs, unfortunately?
Well, one of the things we try to do, and particularly for me, if you listen to anything I say and anything I write on the media, I try to be as practical as example. When I sit with young girls in the Northeast, I mention people like Amina Mohammed. And I say, do you know this woman? Some of them have never seen her before. The few who have gone to school have seen her. And they say, yes, we know her, she's a big woman. That's all they know, that she's a big woman. And for those who are much educated, who are more exposed, I say that is the Under Secretary General of the United Nations. Right. This is one of the most powerful women in the world. She's from northern Nigeria. Her voice, anywhere she goes to in this world, the president of that country must create time to greet her. I said, that is a woman of influence. And I said, she's from northern Nigeria. And I said, do you wish to be like that? They say, yes, even more. And I said, education is your key. So what I try to do is to pose what I call, what do you call them? Like, role models, and Amina Mohammed is a shining one. In fact, currently one of the special advisors to the governor, especially on humanitarian affairs, her name is Dr. Miriam Mandara. She's also a role model. And what I try to do is to look for role models and to pose it to the young girls and say, if you want to be like this, one of your gateway is education. Do everything to ensure that you go to school.
Thank you so very much. I know you got so much to say, particularly on the girl child and women generally. Yes. But we'll continue to wish you the best. Charles Susey is the country's Director of Christian Aid.